Jeet Kumar ji.
Thank you, sir.
10 minutes.
Sir, it's an honor, indeed a great honor for a new MP like me to speak on a very important topic like the budget. And for this, I thank you and profusely thank my leader, Sri Naveen Patnaik, for this opportunity. At the outset, sir, I would like to convey the message of my Honorable CM, who has appreciated the growth focus of this budget. And I quote him, the Union Budget 21-22 speaks of a medium to long-term vision for self-reliant India, which is good for the country. Union government has presented the budget 21-22 in digital form for the first time. We welcome the green initiative as we have already switched over to digital mode of presentation of the Odisha budget from last year itself, unquote. Sir, increased capital expenditure for improving the physical infrastructure in our country, higher priority to health and drinking water, higher allocation under National Livelihood Mission, steps to boost the startup ecosystem of the country are some of the very laudable and praiseworthy initiatives in this budget, which will definitely help India march towards prosperity. There are many more, but I'm limiting myself because of paucity of time. However, my Chief Minister has also flagged the inadequate support provided to Odisha in this budget, and I would like to share some of the concerns and disappointment of Odisha and its people. Sir, but before I do that, I would like to highlight a small concern regarding the very marginal hike in the defense budget. At 4.78 lakh crore, the total defense budget for BE, total defense budget estimate BE for FY 21-22 is only 1.4% higher over last year's 4.71 lakh crore, while we face two hostile nations, Pakistan and China. Pakistan has increased its recent 2021 defense budget with 5% hike in comparison to 1920, and China has increased its 2021 defense budget by 6.6% compared to 1920. Defense accounted for 15.5% of India's budget estimate last year, but this year it is only 13.9%. Even as a percentage of GDP, it's quite low at only 2%, while Pakistan spends 3.9% of its GDP on defense, and again, it's largely India-focused. And China's declared defense budget in 2020 was $179 billion, which is 3 times ours in absolute numbers. Independent sources like Stockholm Peace Research Institute put this number even higher at $240 billion, which is 4 times our defense budget. Honorable Defense Minister Rajnath Singh ji also this morning spoke about the behavior of China, which we know is very aggressive, expansionist, and hostile, which is trying to bully us. I'm aware that a large allocation to defense will minimize investments in social sector. This is a tricky balance, sir, to achieve between the gun and the bullet, between the missiles and the midday meals. I'm sure while increasing the defense budget only modestly, the government has adequately applied its mind and thought it through well enough. I just wanted to flag it. As a regional party, Biju Janata Dal, and our Honorable Party President, Sri Naveen Patnaik, have always stood with successive governments in matters of national security, unity, and integrity of our country. Sir, I will now share my concern about the reduced allocation for the education sector, because it's an area which is of extreme interest and passion to me. Honorable Member Manoj Jha ji also flagged it off. Sir, we all know how COVID pandemic has severely affected and challenged the education ecosystem of our country, because schools and colleges were closed for more than a year, or have been closed for almost a year. There is a real risk of increase in school dropout, particularly in rural India. Gap between children with access to digital learning aids and those without online learning opportunities cannot be starker. In this context, it is very surprising and saddening to note that education allocation has been decreased in this budget. Is it not ironical, sir? Especially in a year when the new education policy NEP is to be rolled out. Let me quote a few lines from the NEP itself. The aim must be for India to have an education system by 2040 that is second to none, with equitable access to the highest quality education for all learners, regardless of their socio-economic background, unquote. Very lofty goal, sir, but does it match with the allocation? The Kothari Commission in 1964 had recommended allocation of 6% of GDP on education. It has never happened so far. In this very first year of NEP and in the post-COVID scenario, the education budget has been reduced by 6% over last year. Sir, I feel the journey to 2040 has started with a fractured leg, and I'm afraid instead of galloping to 2040, we'll all limp there. The saddest part, sir, is that of the 6,000 odd crore reduction over last year in education, 5,000 crores have been deducted for school education. And sir, we all know school education is the foundation of the education system. In fact, it's the foundation of a nation. What message are we giving, sir? Sir, does it not give the wrong signaling that the government is not serious about education and not serious about the implementation of NEP? Now, sir, let me come to my home state, Odisha. My Chief Minister has time and again raised issues of negligence with the past and present central governments in areas of teledensity, banking, highways, coal royalty, drinking water and irrigation, and cutting of funds for scheduled areas like the KBK scheme. So funds meant for repair and renewal of national highways are routinely delayed. Because of paucity of time, sir, I will not have the opportunity to delve into all these areas, so I will restrict myself to just one aspect, the railways. Sir, some facts I would like to place. There are 6 districts in Odisha with no railways. My God. And it's not even a hilly state. It's not even a hilly terrain. In the last 7 years, only one additional district of Odisha has got railway connectivity. In the last 7 years, Odisha has got only one new railway line. East Coast Railway does 70% of its loading and unloading in Odisha, making it one of the most profitable railway zones in the country. Odisha generates annually 20,000 crore for Indian Railways, yet the rail density in Odisha is only 15, while the national average is 19, and our neighboring state of West Bengal has a rail density of 44. We don't grumble our neighbors having a better railway density. Indeed, we are happy for them. But should we not also be given fair treatment, sir? Yes. Odisha government had requested 7,200 crore in this year's budget for railways with a detailed analysis and breakup and justification. But we got only 5,528 crores, sir. Shame. Sir, I could go on and on, but I'm constrained by time. So all I will say is I request the government that there is an urgent need for expanding rail network in the state to improve our rail density. Government of Odisha is committed to extend all help to Railway Ministry for implementation of railway projects in the state, including filling the viability gap, offering free land, forming special purpose vehicles if required, SPVs, and so on. Sir, now I would like to talk about my favorite place on earth, a place called Kalahandi, because it's my home district and I hail from Kalahandi. Many honorable members here may have heard of Kalahandi. Let me take you to pre-2000. Kalahandi had shaken the nation's conscience because of absolute poverty, famine, starvation, inaccessibility, and some of the worst socio-economic indicators in the country.
Please conclude now.
Sir, give me, sir, 2-3 minutes more, sir.
Not 3 minutes, just 1 minute.
Sir,
please,
you had told 10 minutes, sir.
1 minute.
Sir, it had become famous as the hunger capital of India. People compared Kalahandi with sub-Saharan Africa, and the term Kalahandi syndrome was made popular in developmental studies. It was called Bhokora Bhugora, meaning the geography of hunger. Come year 2021. So you'll be happy to note that today Kalahandi has emerged as a remarkable development success story. The other day, Honorable Member Rakesh Sinha ji was mentioning about Kalahandi. I'm not sure if he has been there, but through you, I urge and invite all honorable members to visit Kalahandi and see for yourself.
Please
sir.
conclude now.
Sir, give me 1 minute.
No, sir. Time is over. Already I have given 1 minute.
Sir, 10
please.
minutes, nahi hua, sir.
Please conclude.
Sir, I beg you,
Concluding.
Sir, why I'm talking about Kalahandi in budget discussion? It's because of 2 reasons, sir. Because the world must, and particularly our nation must and should know about the Kalahandi model of development. This amazing transformational story of the last 20 years. And because how, despite this remarkable journey, we are still not getting our due. Instead of acknowledging our success and rewarding us, we have to struggle and fight for budgetary support, sir. Sir, just 30 seconds more, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, 30 seconds more. Sir, we are people of Kalahandi and the wider KBK region, of which Kalahandi is a part, Kalahandi, Bolangir, and Koraput, a cluster of 8 districts in western and southern Odisha. People of KBK and Kalan, they are not stupid, they are not lazy, sir. We have been deprived of opportunities by successive governments,
Thank
both
you.
central and state.
Thank you, Sujit ji.
And now, sir, when we are trying to increase our infrastructure, we are not getting adequate
Thank
support
you.
from
I'll
state
be
government.
calling other speaker. Thank
Sir,
you.
last line, sir, last line, before I
Thank-
conclude. Sir, before I conclude, sir, last line. Sir, Honorable Finance Minister herself mentioned inclusive development for aspirational India as one of the 6 pillars of the union budget. Sir,
Thank
I'll
you.
just like to
Thank you. I'm
conclude.
calling other speaker. Honorable T.S.
Thank you,
Elan
sir.
Govan Saab.